Aleister Crowley faked his death in 1947. And as you can see, Donald Trump's entire name equals 47. So Donald is 47, John is 47, which is his middle name, and then Trump is 47. And Donald Trump is going to be the 47th president. So far, there's been 46 presidents, and Donald Trump is heavily connected to the number 47. So it's scripted for him to be the next president, and I'm gonna prove it. Because not only does his name Trump equal 47, but his initials DJT also equals 47. And then Donald John Trump is 74, which is 47 reversed. And Donald Trump claims to have 74 million supporters. And another obvious hint that he's going to be the next president is the fact that his name is Trump, which comes from the word triumph. And as you can see, the definition of triumph is a great victory or achievement. So it's very obvious that Donald Trump is scripted to win. You know, it's in his name. And his name also comes from trumpets, and trumpets are mentioned a lot in the book of Revelation in the Bible. And like I said before, the Bible is not meant to be taken literal. So when we see these trumpets being mentioned in Revelation, you know, it's an analogy to Trump and many other things. Another connection between Trump and Owen Wilson. Owen Wilson recently dropped a movie called Paint on April 7th. April 7 is written as 4/7, which is 47, and Trump equals 47. And like I talked about earlier, Donald Trump is scripted to be the 47th president. And this is more proof right here. The fact that his other character dropped a movie on April 7th. I mean, come on now. They're giving us so many hints of this. So another prediction that I made in my last video that I'm still sticking with, my other prediction is that Donald Trump is going to be the 47th president of the United States. And it's very obvious. I mean, he's letting you know in plain sight because he follows 47 people on Instagram, and he's been doing this for the past year. I mentioned it in my last Donald Trump video last year, and he's still following 47 people, and he's running for the 47th president.
All presidents are fake puppets. They are made to cipher energy from the masses. Yes, like I said, Trump's energy bank is getting full because fools are worshiping this character. So of course he's going to be president because everything's going to fall on this character. So right here, Diddy is following Trump, ironically. Trump could win. He literally could.
In this video, I'm going to be going through the entire timeline of this Donald Trump character because I've exposed this character multiple times, and I successfully predicted that Donald Trump would win the 2024 election and become the 47th president. I just showed you 3 clips of me predicting this, and there's so much more because I've predicted 4 things in this character's career that have already happened, and I have 1 more prediction that has yet to come. So I will be revealing that prediction in this video, and then I'm also going to be exposing the scripting of this entire election because it was completely scripted for Donald Trump to win against Kamala Harris, and I'm gonna show proof of this in this video. So make sure you watch this entire video because I will be exposing the scripting and all of his characters towards the end of the video because he responded again to my video about him being Elvis. It was very obvious that Donald Trump was going to win because his character is based off of Benito M. You know, I can't say his name, but you guys can see it on the screen. And this guy was the leader of a country. So it makes sense that his other character, Donald Trump, would also be the leader of a country. This is why it's important to know celebrities' other characters because you can easily predict what's going to happen with their career and what their agenda is with that character. Because, for example, Donald Trump's base characters are very evil, and one of them was a leader. So this shows a lot about his character. So before we get deeper into this video, I dropped some really good videos about Halloween on my Patreon. Go watch these videos if you haven't, especially this one. This is a must watch for anybody conscious because not only did I expose how Halloween is the purge, but I also exposed predictive programming of a future event that's going to come mainly in the United States. And I also exposed how NPCs love Halloween and how to spot an NPC. And Divine Sade made this video as well about why NPCs love wearing red. And then she also has a video exposing Halloween and the satanic rituals that they do on this holiday. So go join our Patreon. The link's in the description below. And also, if you haven't noticed, I recently hit 99,000 subscribers on this channel. So I only need 900 more subscribers to reach 100K. So make sure you subscribe to this channel so I can get to 100,000, because you guys know that I should have been hit 100,000 a long time ago. But YouTube has always been playing with the numbers. It's very obvious that they've been doing that, especially since I've been getting closer to 100K. They're trying to slow me down as much as possible. But thanks to all of your guys' support, I've been able to reach this milestone, even though they've been messing with the channel. So the truth always wins. The truth will always make an impact. And if you're subscribed to this channel, and if you're supporting me on Patreon, then you're supporting the movement that me and Divine Sade have with putting the truth out there. So if you support the movement, subscribe to this channel and watch all our videos, you know, that's a free way to support us. But if you want to support us even further so we can continue making these videos, be sure to join our Patreon. The link's in the description below. And this is groundbreaking for me because I never thought I would get this far. I started making videos 5 years ago, so it's been a great journey, and I appreciate everybody that watches my videos, likes the videos, and shares the videos, because that's how we can get this content to more people, because nobody else goes as deep as I do with these videos besides my wife Divine Sade. So go subscribe to her channel as well. The link's in the description below. And I will be doing a giveaway when I reach 100K, and it's not going to cost you guys anything. All you have to do to enter the giveaway is subscribe to our YouTube channels with post notifications, and follow us on Instagram or Facebook, whichever app you prefer, and share our recent video. Thank you guys so much for your support, and now let's get into the video. So as you guys can see by the title of this video, I successfully predicted that Donald Trump would win the election. And if you guys have been watching my channel for the past couple years now, you know that I've predicted 3 other events in Donald Trump's career. So let's go through the entire timeline, because I've been predicting this stuff since 2021. So the very first prediction I made was when the staged event happened in DC. You know, I can't say the word, but you guys can read it on the screen right now. I'm just going to call it the CR. You know, I can't talk about this too much on here, and I can't show the video because this video was originally on my channel where I showed proof of me predicting this, and they took it down. So if you want to watch this video, join our Patreon. The link's in the description below. You know, I can't talk about this one too much, unfortunately, on YouTube because they're very sensitive about this topic. But I showed proof of me predicting this, along with proof that it was staged and scripted. So go watch that video. The link to my Patreon is in the description. As you guys can see, after I predicted it, I made a video exposing this and they took it down. So that was very unfortunate, but this proves that I was right about this video. I feel like they deleted this video because they knew that I just predicted something very deep. And as you guys can see, I predicted it 7 months before it happened. So go watch that video. Now let's move on to my next prediction that happened, and this one was actually from 2020. As you guys can see, I made this video on November 2nd, 2020. I predicted that something would happen with Donald Trump. I can't say the word, but you guys can see on the screen. This is the very first video on my Patreon. So if you join my Patreon, just go down to my first video and you'll find it. So I successfully predicted that there would be an attempt on this character's life, right? And this was back in 2020. And sure enough, 4 years later, it came true. So that's 2 events that I've successfully predicted with this character. And if you guys watched my first YouTube video where I exposed Donald Trump and his satanic character, I predicted it in this video as well. It wasn't as detailed as my Patreon video, but here's a small clip of me predicting that something would happen to this character. This character will be removed from the world stage. And I can't go too deep into this on YouTube, so make sure you guys go subscribe to my Patreon. And how I know this is going to happen, we can see that his base character, Aleister Crowley, has already faked his own death twice. So it's public knowledge that Aleister Crowley has already faked his death twice. And if you guys remember, my first video on Patreon is actually about this topic. You know, I can't talk about it too much right now, but you guys can go watch this video on my Patreon, and I will be dropping a new video about this on Patreon with more information that I found and videos that I can't show on here. And then there was this other video I made where I exposed the AI clones that Mark Zuckerberg made on Instagram of a bunch of AI celebrities, and one of them was Snoop Dogg. And in this video, when I got to the segment of Snoop Dogg, I showed some predictive programming that Snoop Dogg has where he's doing an attempt on Donald Trump's character. You know, I can't say the word, but you guys know what I'm talking about. So here's the video. And he also has this music video where he's shooting this Donald character. And notice how Donald is dressed like a clown. And this is predictive programming because if you guys watched my recent video about him, I talked about how they're going to remove his character from the world stage. And I went even deeper on that topic on my Patreon. You guys can go check out that video. The link to my Patreon is in the description. So that's 3 times that I predicted that there would be an attempt on the Donald Trump character's life. Now, my next prediction that has not came true yet is that they're going to fake this character's death. And keep in mind, it took 4 years for my first prediction to come true, and this prediction could happen very soon. It could happen within the next 4 years while he's president, or it could take longer. There's no telling with this, but I do know that this is going to happen with this character. The time of this prediction happening could be very soon, but it also could be years down the line. So it might take a few years for this prediction to come true, but nevertheless, when it does happen, come back to this video because my next prediction is that they're going to fake this character's death. As you can see, Trump equals 25 and death equals 25 in gematria. And then we see that his middle name is John and Donald John equals 47, just like fake death in the same cipher. And speaking of 47, that's more scripting that this character was going to be the 47th president because his first and middle name, Donald John, equals 47. So like I said, there's a high possibility that this character will fake his death while he's the 47th president, because what are the chances that fake death also equals 47 and he's currently about to be the 47th president? So there's a high possibility that my prediction could come true within the next 4 years. So now let's get into the clips of me predicting that Donald Trump would be the 47th president. The very first time I predicted this was in my first video on my YouTube channel about him being a satanic false prophet named Aleister Crowley. In this video, I showed a connection with Aleister Crowley and the number 47, and I also showed you guys gematria of Donald John Trump and 47. Aleister Crowley faked his death in 1947, and as you can see, Donald Trump's entire name equals 47. So Donald is 47, John is 47, which is his middle name, and then Trump is 47. And Donald Trump is going to be the 47th president. So far, there's been 46 presidents, and Donald Trump is heavily connected to the number 47, so it's scripted for him to be the next president, and I'm gonna prove it, because not only does his name Trump equal 47, but his initials DJT also equals 47. So that was a deep clip because I showed how Donald Trump's base character is Aleister Crowley, and Aleister Crowley died in 1947, and now his younger character Donald Trump is the 47th president, and that video was from 2023, so I predicted this a year before it happened. This is why knowing their other characters is very important, because you can easily predict what's going to happen. This is why I know Donald Trump's character is going to fake his death, because in this video, I will be exposing 6 of Donald Trump's characters, and 4 out of those 6 characters have already faked their death. So that's how I know Donald Trump is going to be next. So now let's get into my next video on Trump. And this video is from 3 months ago. And in this video, I successfully predicted again that Trump would be the 47th president. My other prediction is that Donald Trump is going to be the 47th president of the United States. And it's very obvious. I mean, he's letting you know in plain sight because he follows 47 people on Instagram, and he's been doing this for the past year. Some more scripting that I noticed that I could have used to predict this, but I didn't notice it until now, is the fact that Donald Trump's initials are DT, and DT equals 24 in gematria. And of course, Donald Trump wins the election in 2024. So it was very scripted for this character to win the election in 2024. Now let's move on to Divine Sade's prediction on this, because she also predicted this twice.
All presidents are fake puppets. They are made to cipher energy from the masses. Yes, like I said, Trump's energy bank is getting full because fools are worshiping this character. So of course he's going to be president, because everything's going to fall on this character more than it will fall on Biden's character. Like I said right here, left or right wing, who give a it's all still the same dirty bird, okay? It's the same bird, but you looking at the wings of the bird. Just wake the up, step back and see the whole bird and stop voting like an idiot because they're using your energy to do rituals.
She also made another video on our Patreon about Diddy's voting agenda from 20 years ago, and ironically now Diddy is trending all over the media 20 years later because he was promoting the election in 2004, and now 20 years later in 2024 he's trending all over the media. So this entire thing is scripted, and Divine Sade showed many connections and predictive programming of all of this in this video. So go join our Patreon to be able to watch both of these videos. And in part 2, she actually showed proof of Diddy being connected to Trump, and she once again predicted that Trump would win the election.
So right here, Diddy is following Trump, ironically. Trump could win. He literally could.
So that was a deep connection, because what are the chances that Diddy started that voting agenda in 2004, and now 20 years later that he's trending all over the media, the only politician he follows right now is Donald Trump, which is another Republican. And of course, Republicans win again 20 years later now that Diddy's trending all over the media. So it was all scripted with Diddy. And think about it, the main thing they're saying about Diddy is his parties, right? And the two sides in politics are called parties. You have the Democratic Party, aka the Democrat Party, and you have the Republican Party, aka the Reptilian Party. So anyways, me and Divine Sade have been on fire with predicting things lately. If you guys remember, Divine Sade successfully predicted that Rich Homie Quan was going to fake his death, and she made this prediction 3 years ago, and it came true 2 months ago. So go watch her video on this topic. The link's in the description below. And I also predicted that Jada Youngin would fake his death as well. I predicted this in 2021, and it came true 1 year later in 2022. And these are just 2 more examples of me and Divine Sade predicting this stuff about celebrities. You know, when you know the scripting of the Matrix and you know who their other characters are, you can easily tell what's going to happen. So we've been on fire with predicting things lately, and I have more videos predicting things as well. I'm going to make a playlist with all of my predictions, and I'll put a link to that playlist in the description below, because I also predicted Shock G's death and many more. And keep in mind, some of our predictions happen pretty fast. Like my fastest prediction to happen, you know, that one only took 7 months to come true. But some of our other predictions take a year or 4 years. Like my other prediction on somebody trying to take out Donald Trump, that prediction took 4 years. And Divine Sade's prediction took 3 years. So be patient with our predictions. You know, we make a lot of predictions, and sometimes it takes a few years to come true. And sometimes when we make the prediction, they push it down even further because we made the prediction. But it's still going to come true at the end of the day, because we still pointed out a code that they have with that character, and it's only a matter of time before they use it. So that's why our predictions always end up coming true. Now let's move on to my next prediction that I made about Donald Trump. And this prediction deals with McDonald's. If you guys remember in my first video on Donald Trump being Aleister Crowley, at the very end of this video, I pointed out how Donald Trump is very connected to McDonald's, because McDonald's is a popular fast food restaurant in America, and now we have a president called Donald. So I made that connection a year ago, and Donald Trump's name is really recycled. You know, they have this big corporation called McDonald's, which I don't recommend eating this fast food trash, by the way, because fast food is very bad for you. I made a video exposing this on my Patreon. I recommend you guys check that out. But this reminded me of Donald Trump because McDonald's has this character called Ronald McDonald, and he's a clown, and people call Donald Trump a clown as well. So after I pointed out that Donald Trump was connected to McDonald's, a year later, Donald Trump is serving fries at McDonald's. I can't make this up. And of course, this was all scripted because Donald Trump equals 60 and French fries equals 60 in the same cipher. And of course, he was serving French fries in this video. So this is yet another prediction, because why would they do this 1 year after I pointed this out? And they have a fictional character called Ronald McDonald that used to promote McDonald's, and this character is a clown. And I noticed that Ronald McDonald is currently 61 years old because they created his character in 1963, and ironically Donald Trump equals 60, so that's only 1 year off. But this 61 is still a direct connection to Donald Trump's other character, Elvis Presley, because Ronald McDonald is 61 years old, and 61 backwards is 16, and Elvis Presley died on August 16th. So like I said, when you know their other characters, you can find more connections. So now let's get into all of the Elvis Presley side-by-side comparisons that I made, along with all the connections that I found, because this one is just very obvious. I mean, the fact that Donald Trump has admitted this multiple times. So as you can see, it's very obvious that Donald Trump is also based off of Elvis Presley. These two characters look so much alike, especially right here. This one is very easy to see. You can see that they have the same eyes, and right here they're making the same facial expression. Here's another good comparison as well. Right here you can see the similarities in their nose, the hair, and their mouth. So as you guys know, after I made my first video on Donald Trump, a few months later he ends up posting this picture of a side-by-side comparison of him and Elvis Presley, and it's very obvious that they look alike in this comparison. And in the caption he said, "For so many years people have been saying that Elvis and I look alike. Now this picture has been going all over the place. What do you think?" So he's basically admitting the truth in plain sight by posting this, and it's still up to this day. It's still on his Instagram. He has to post this to let you know in plain sight who his other character is. And he does this with all of his characters. I'm gonna prove it in this video, because he's one of those characters that admits every single character that he has. You know, those characters are the nastiest because they really want to deceive you in plain sight, and you have to be really dumb to not see that they're admitting to you who they are. So after I made my recent video on Donald Trump and Elvis Presley, he ends up responding again by making another speech where he admits he's Elvis Presley. And keep in mind, this speech was 2 months after my recent video on Donald Trump and Elvis Presley. Check this out.
So I'd call up my wife and I'd say, "Baby, who could draw crowds? Nobody can draw crowds like me. Nobody, not even close. I'm the greatest of all time, maybe greater even than Elvis, because Elvis had a guitar. I don't have a guitar. Elvis had a guitar. I don't have the privilege of a guitar."
So far, I've predicted 4 things in Donald Trump's career, so I'm not surprised that this character keeps doing damage control every time I expose him, you know, because right there he admitted he's Elvis Presley again after my video. Here's some more clips of him admitting he's Elvis Presley. There's so many of them because this character always admits the truth in plain sight.
Well, I am thrilled to be back in Tupelo. I love Tupelo, home of thousands of hard-working American patriots and the proud birthplace of the king of rock and roll, Elvis. Elvis! We love Elvis. But other than the blonde hair, when I was growing up, they said I looked like Elvis. You see that? Did you believe it? I always consider that a great compliment. We love Elvis, don't we? Today goes to one of the most beloved artists and most enduring cultural icons that has ever lived. The king of rock and roll, the true king. And you have to say that. Elvis Aaron Presley. That was Elvis. That was my idea. Say, give me a little song. That was, I guess, a little promotional ability, but I will tell you he was something special. In fact, at the end of a performance, oftentimes the fans would go so wild. I was there once in Las Vegas at the Hilton. The fans were ripping the place apart, screaming. They were going crazy. And they announced, Elvis has left the house. Elvis, if they didn't say that, I think I'd still be there. Maybe I wouldn't be here. But they had to do that. Elvis has gone. Elvis has left.
I want to ask you whether I should call you Mr. President, or I saw you on Hannity the other night saying you're the new Elvis. I helped put that song together, Justice for All. How does it feel to be #1 on the Billboard chart, sir?
I was very honored. I said, maybe I'm the new Elvis.
I always wanted to be Elvis Presley.
Crazy. That was like Elvis. That was like an American, he's like an American version of Elvis. It was like we brought in the middle of an all-American deal. Elvis Presley came back.
So that was a lot of clips of Donald Trump admitting he's Elvis Presley. So if you don't see it by now, you are completely programmed by the Matrix, and you're refusing to see what's right in front of you, which is how they deceive you, because at that point you're just deceiving yourself. Donald has already told you that he's Elvis, so if you continue to live your life believing that he's not Elvis and that he's a real person and that he's here to save you, then you're deceiving yourself, because that's not what this character is here to do. He's here to deceive you, lie to you, and brainwash you. Later on I'm gonna show you guys gematria, because Donald Trump and Hypnotize have the same gematria. But anyways, Donald Trump has many pictures with Elvis impersonators. As you can see, he's with one right here, and here's another picture that he has with a guy that is dressed like Elvis, and he loves to do this because he wants to let you know in plain sight that he's Elvis. So here's another video of Donald Trump talking about how Elvis impersonators love him.
And Donald Elvis Trump felt love in return.
Out, out! He looks like an Elvis impersonator. That's strange, because all the Elvis impersonators love Donald Trump. They love me.
Here's another really good side-by-side comparison of Trump and Elvis. And in this picture, they merged the faces of Trump and Elvis, and you literally can't tell them apart because both of these characters are the same. Now let's get into all of the gematria connections between these two characters. So Elvis equals 49 in gematria, and Donald J. Trump also equals 49 in the same cipher. Then we see that Donald John Trump equals 63, and Elvis's nickname is the King of Rock, and the King of Rock also equals 63 in the same cipher. And on top of that, Elvis died in 1977, and Donald J. Trump equals 77. Then we see that Elvis died at 42. 42 backwards is 24, and Donald is 24, and Trump is 24. I can't make this up, man. It's all in plain sight. And the biggest connection with this is the fact that Donald Trump wins the election in 2024. So that's why Elvis died at 42. You know, it was all a connection to his other character. Then we see that Donald Trump was born in 1946, and Elvis' last name, Presley, equals 46 in gematria. Also notice how Donald was born on June 14th, and dead equals 14 in gematria. So that's another connection that I forgot to put in here of this character faking his death. Then we see that Donald Trump was the 45th president, and Elvis Presley equals 45 in gematria. So if you guys remember, 1 year ago I exposed how Elvis Presley is also Khloe Kardashian, and I even exposed all of Elvis's base characters in this video because Elvis is based off of the Statue of Liberty and many other ancient statues. So go watch this video. The link's in the description below. So I bring this up because keep in mind, Donald Trump's main base character is Aleister Crowley, right? But they also based him off of Elvis. So he's like a 50-50 mix of Elvis and Aleister Crowley. That's why he looks like both of them. But Elvis Presley has his own base characters and his own younger characters that they made based off of him. So this is why I made this video, because Khloe Kardashian is strictly based off of Elvis. Meanwhile, Donald Trump is only a 50-50 mix of Elvis and Aleister Crowley. So that's why he looks different from Khloe. But they still do connections to let you know that all of these characters are connected, because as you guys can see, it's very obvious that Khloe Kardashian is based off of Elvis Presley. And since Donald Trump is also based off of Elvis Presley, there's a connection where Donald Trump called Khloe Kardashian a fat piglet because apparently she was going to be on his show The Apprentice, but he took her off the show and she got mad about it and responded. So this character literally has beef with his other character's female character. So this is how they do the mockery in plain sight. Now let's get into the scripting of Donald Trump's name, because a lot of people think that this character is their savior and that he's gonna help them. But no, this character is not good. No politician is here to help you. They're all here to deceive you. Because whether Donald won or Kamala won, it doesn't matter. Their agenda is still the same. As you guys can see, Donald Trump equals 48 in the reduction cipher, just like Illuminati. Then we see that Donald Trump equals 138, just like Hypnotize. And this is what I was telling you guys earlier about how this character is here to brainwash you, because there's so many people that are brainwashed and hypnotized by Donald Trump. And this is why they have Elon promoting Donald Trump in this very goofy way. You know, he's representing somebody that's very hypnotized by Donald. And this dude looks very goofy in these pictures and zesty. You know, he's really promoting Donald in the weirdest way with this. And if you guys watched my live stream about him, you know, we discussed his shirt and all of the symbolism with that. So go watch our recent live stream. The link's in the description. Also, it makes sense that Elon is promoting Donald because Donald's base character is a Satanist, which is Aleister Crowley, and Elon is openly a Satanist. As you can see, he's literally wearing a satanic Halloween costume that has the Baphomet and upside down crosses, and this costume is literally called the Devil's Champion. So this is more proof that whoever Elon was endorsing was going to win, because this costume is literally called Devil's Champion, and Donald's other character is a devil. He literally called himself the Beast from Revelation. I'm gonna show you guys later, and it's very obvious that this character is very evil. As you can see in this picture, Not only is he doing symbolism, but he has this very sinister face, as if he's letting you know that he has a very sinister plan. I recommend you guys go watch this live stream. We really exposed all of the predictive programming of robots and how they're coming very soon. He said that these robots are going to be sold next year. So robots are going to take over soon. And we talked about this in our live stream. And I will be making a Patreon video very soon about that as well. And I also have a really good video on Elon Musk and his other characters on my Patreon. So go join the Patreon and watch this video, especially if you want to know what celebrities are. I really went in detail and broke it down what celebrities are and how they create their vessels. So go watch this video. And speaking of the Patreon, shout out to everybody in the Patreon, because we have a really good group chat in our Patreon and you guys send a lot of good stuff in there. And someone sent this picture of Elon Musk a day after Donald won the election, and it's a picture of Elon and Donald. And of course, Elon's son is doing symbolism with his hands right here. You know, he's doing a cross. But anyways, in the caption, Elon said, "Novus Ordo Seclorum." And when you look that up, it's a Latin phrase that means a new order of the ages, aka New World Order. And if you notice, this quote is at the bottom of the seal on the back of the dollar bill. And of course, he uses this caption after Donald Trump wins the election because next year is a 9-year and Donald Trump is going to be the president. So he's going to be enforcing a lot of new things. I recommend you guys buy our ebook on Patreon because Divine Sade really exposed the truth behind every single number and how they use these numbers. And in her book, she talked about how the number 9 is about completion and how the number 1 is about starting something new. So next year is a 9-year and 2026 is a 1-year. So Donald and Elon are going to be finishing off the old and coming in with the new, aka the New World Order. This is why Elon Musk is promoting his robots heavily right now. He's trying to program your mind to be okay with it for when they drop next year. And by 2026, they're going to be more common and they will be replacing many jobs. I'm going to make a video about that soon on my Patreon. I'm going to show you guys every single job that they're going to replace. So anyways, on the back of the dollar bill, it also says Annuit Coeptis, which means God favors our undertaking. So I exposed this on my Patreon video about religion. Go watch that video. There's more information about this on there. Another thing I mentioned in that video, the pyramid on the back of the dollar bill makes a hexagram if you add another one upside down. And this hexagram points to 5 letters, which are M-A-S-O-N. So they blatantly have Mason on the back of the dollar bill. Now let's move on to the scripting of this entire election, because if you're subscribed to my Patreon, I have a very old video from 2020 about Kamala Harris, and in this video I showed how scripted she was to winning that election, because her and Biden were scripted to win the election in 2020. In that video, I showed this Kamala wrestler that had recently died. So as you can see, there's literally a wrestler named Kamala. And the mockery with this is that his last name is also Harris. So why would they have this wrestler named Kamala and his real last name is Harris? And then the vice president of 2020 is Kamala Harris. And notice how her middle name is Devi or Devi. And if you add an L, you get devil. Shout out to Divine Sade. She talked about that in her recent Kamala Harris video on our Patreon. So go check that out. So anyways, we have a wrestler named Kamala and his last name is Harris. Then we have the vice president called Kamala Harris. And check out these dates. Kamala Harris, the wrestler, dies on August 9th, 2020. 2 months later is Kamala Harris's birthday. And 1 month after that, Kamala Harris wins the election and becomes the vice president. So Kamala Harris became the vice president in November of 2020. And 3 months before that, a wrestler named Kamala Harris died on August 9th, 2020. I can't make this up, man. There was too much scripting with this event, especially considering that her birthday is in between these two events. Now let's get even deeper with this, because I knew about the Kamala wrestler, but recently somebody in our group chat on Patreon pointed out that there's another wrestler named Yu Maga, and they sent a bunch of connections with this. So shout out to that person in the Patreon group chat. If you want to join the group chat, just join our Patreon and you get access to the group chat. I really made that group chat because I know a lot of you guys are alone with this knowledge and it's hard to find people to talk to about this stuff because everybody in our real life are NPCs and they don't understand this stuff. So if you want to speak to like-minded individuals, join our Patreon and check out the group chat. So anyways, the person in the group chat pointed out how MAGA is another wrestler, and as you guys can see, his name has MAGA in it, and Trump's slogan is MAGA. You know, it's an acronym for Make America Great Again. So not only do they have a wrestler based off of Kamala, but they also have one based off of Trump called MAGA, and as you can see, he's always wearing these MAGA hats, and right here he's doing symbolism. So this is a crazy connection because MAGA beat Kamala in the WWE in 2006. So think about the foreshadowing that they're doing with this title. MAGA beat Kamala in the WWE 18 years ago, and now 18 years later, Trump, aka MAGA, beats Kamala in the 2024 election. So this was all scripted. There's so much more scripting with this. So Kamala the wrestler was born on May 28th, 1950, and Neil Armstrong landed on the moon on July 20th, 1969. The significance of these two dates is the fact that the moon landing was 999 weeks after Kamala the wrestler's birthday. And if you flip the 999 upside down, you get 666. And we all know the moon landing was fake. You know, they removed my video about that, but I will be posting that on my Patreon very soon. So this is all connected because there's so many 666 connections with Trump and Kamala Harris. You know, Divine showed that in her video. Then we see that the inauguration is on January 20th, 2025. So this is the day that Donald will become the president. So from the moon landing to Donald Trump's inauguration is exactly 666 months. So yet again, another 666. And this is all connected because Donald John Trump in Hebrew gematria is 666. So here's the proof of me putting it in. So if you type in Donald John Trump in the English to Hebrew translator, this is Donald John Trump's name in Hebrew. So I copied that and pasted it into the Hebrew calculator. And as you can see, Donald John Trump in Hebrew has a 6 numerology because the number at the bottom is the numerology of the number of the top. So for example, 4 plus 8 is 12, 12 plus 3 is 15, 1 plus 5 is 6. So that's how you get 6. And same thing with the other 2 ciphers. So the numerology of the 3 main ciphers is 666. And on top of that, if you add all of the numbers in these 3 ciphers, you get 666 again. So 483 plus 123 plus 60. As you can see, I put this in the calculator. 483 plus 123 plus 60 is exactly 666. I can't make this up. So Donald Trump is directly connected to that number in many different ways. Because if you guys remember, in 2023, he was indicted. As you can see, he received 4 criminal indictments. And the word indictment literally equals 666 in the Sumerian cipher. And I pointed this out in my Andrew Tate video because Andrew Tate also equals 666 in this same cipher. And him and Donald are very connected. Go watch that video. Then we see that Donald Trump was the director of a show called The Apprentice. And The Apprentice also equals 666 in the reverse satanic cipher. So this character is very connected to that number. And the reason for this is because his base character is Aleister Crowley, and Aleister Crowley referred to himself as the Beast 666. So this dude literally called himself the devil, basically. And now we see that his other character is Donald, and he became the president. You know, that should really let people know what's going on right now. And to top it off, the nail in the coffin that Donald Trump is very evil is the fact that Donald J. Trump has the same exact gematria as Antichrist. They both equal 49 and 68 in the same 2 ciphers. And keep in mind, Kamala Harris is also very connected to 666. And the devil, I mean, her middle name is literally devil without the L. And shout out to Divine Sade because she showed a lot of connections of Kamala Harris and 666. So go watch her recent video. Now let's expose Donald Trump's satanic based character, Aleister Crowley. As you guys can see, it's very obvious that Donald Trump is Aleister Crowley. They're both very evil looking, and they have this sinister look in their eyes, and they have the same facial features. Right here, there's so many similarities, and they have the same facial expressions. That's something to really notice in these comparisons. Right here, they have the same eyes and the same mouth. And right here, they're really making the same facial expression. And ironically, the picture on the left is Aleister Crowley's mugshot. And now Donald Trump has a mugshot. So that's another connection. And here's another comparison of Donald Trump and Aleister Crowley, where they're making the same face expression with their mouth. And even when they were younger, they still resembled a lot. As you can see, young Donald Trump still looks like young Aleister Crowley. They even share the same gematria. Donald equals 24 and Aleister equals 24. So their first names both equal 24. And of course, Donald wins the 2024 election. Then we see that their last names both equal 88. Then we see that Aleister matches up with Donald Trump in 2 ciphers. They both equal 40 and 36. And Aleister Crowley's full name is Edward Alexander Crowley. So his first and last name are Edward Crowley, and Edward Crowley matches up with Donald J. Trump with the number 49 in the Chaldean cipher. Now let's move on to Donald's other character. So his oldest base character is Aleister Crowley, and then after Aleister Crowley, they made Benito M. And I can't say his name because he's a very sensitive character. But as you guys can see, it's very obvious that these two characters are also the same. They made multiple characters out of Aleister Crowley. And I'm gonna prove it because Aleister Crowley also looks like Benito. So as you can see, Benito M and Donald share the same mouth and the same eyes, and they're doing the same facial expressions as well. And they even have the same quotes. So one of Donald Trump's quotes is "Drain the swamp," and Benito M had the same quote of "Drain the swamp," but in another language. I can't make this up, man. It's all in plain sight. They literally put Benito's face on Donald Trump's body, and it's the same exact character. The picture on the right is not Donald Trump's face. It's only his body and hair, but with Benito's face, and you literally can't tell them apart. So that's proof that they're the same. Then we see that Donald Trump also likes another one of his quotes. So one of Benito's quotes is "Better to live one day as a lion than 100 days as a lamb." And Donald Trump loves this quote. He even has a video talking about it. So this Benito fan page posted this tweet of Benito's quote, the one I just read to you. And Donald Trump retweeted that tweet. And here's a video of somebody calling him out for that. And he defends it. And of course he would defend it because that's his other character. As you can see, he says, "Benito is Benito. What difference does it make?" And keep in mind, I have to censor, all the times that they say his name and stuff like that. But you can read the captions in the video. So here's the video.
There is a trending retweet of yours. You retweeted somebody from 2016. It was a quote, but you didn't know it was when you retweeted. It said, "It is better to live one day as a lion than 100 years as a sheep." That's a famous quote. You retweeted it. Do you like the quote? Did you know it was?
It's okay to know it's. Yeah, look, he was Muslim. Yeah, it's okay to. It's a very good quote. It's a very interesting quote, and I know it. I saw it. I saw what, and I know who said it. But what difference does it make whether it's or somebody else? It's certainly a very interesting quote.
Well,
that's probably why I have
is a
between
known
Facebook
fascist.
and Twitter 14 million people, and other people don't.
Do you want to be
associated? It's a very
associated?
interesting quote, and people can talk about it.
You want to be associated with a?
No, I want to be associated with interesting quotes. And people, I have almost 14 million people between Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and all of that.
Right.
And we do interesting things. And I sent it out. And certainly, hey, it got your attention, didn't it?
Well, and it is trending on.
So Donald Trump literally admitted that he's Benito in that video because why was he so defensive sharing his quote? And as you can see, they look exactly alike right here. So not only do Donald and Benito look alike, but also Aleister Crowley and Benito favor each other as well because Benito is based off of Aleister Crowley. As you can see, they were both bald and they looked exactly alike right here. They have the same head shape, the same eyes, the same sinister look, and the same mouth. Now let's move on to another one of Donald's characters, which is General S. Patton. And keep in mind, this character was an army general, so that's very symbolic to what might happen while Donald is in office. I can't say too much, but if you guys watch my recent video on Patreon, you guys know what I'm talking about. So here's another great comparison of Donald and General S. Patton. These two characters look identical. Now let's move on to another character that Donald has, which is this other leader of the UK named Boris Johnson. These two characters have the same hair and the same face. You know, this one's very obvious, and the hair gives it away the most with this one, but also the fact that both of these characters were the leaders of a country. You know, Boris Johnson was the leader of the UK, and Donald was the leader of the US. Then we see that they made another character based off of both of these characters. So if you combine Donald and Boris Johnson, you get Owen Wilson. As you can see, he's a mixture of both of them. This picture on the right is Donald with Boris Johnson's hair, and he looks exactly like Owen Wilson. Here's another really good comparison of these two characters. They have a very similar nose, except the fact that Owen Wilson's is broken. And here's another really good comparison that somebody made. You know, The Matrix has basically admitted this one already. Then we see another great comparison of these two characters. So not only do these two characters look exactly alike, but they were both actors, so that's another connection. And on top of that, they even share the same gematria. Donald J. Trump equals 49, just like Owen Wilson. And then their last names both equal 29 as well. Now let's move on to the last and final character. Another one of Donald's characters is John Candy. And the big connection with this is the fact that both of these characters are actors as well, just like Owen Wilson. But there's an even deeper connection, which is the fact that John Candy was in Home Alone 1 and Donald Trump was in Home Alone 2. So they were both in the same movie series, but they were never casted in the same movie together. And on top of that, John Candy's name is John, and Donald Trump's middle name is John. So that makes this one very obvious. And John Candy is a death faker. So 4 of Donald's characters are death fakers. This is why I believe that Donald Trump will be the 5th death faker in his group of characters. Or like I said, they might kill off another one of his characters like Boris Johnson or Owen Wilson, but it's most likely Donald because he's the most connected to it in gematria. So I always end these videos off by letting you guys know that politics is planned and staged. Nothing is real. It's all a scripted show, and these characters are just actors on the show. The fact that Donald Trump was literally an actor in Home Alone should let you know that this is all a show. And another president even admitted this. Franklin D. Roosevelt admitted that politics are planned and scripted. As you can see, one of his most famous quotes is, "In politics, nothing happens by accident. If it happens, you can bet it was planned that way." So everything in politics is scripted. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to drop a like on this video. Subscribe to my channel. We're very close to 100,000 subscribers. And join our Patreon. The link's in the description below. When you join our Patreon, you get access to 80 videos. And we're always uploading new videos like this one right here. So when you join, you get access to 80 videos, the group chat, and you get to direct message us anything you want. And if you join the higher tiers, you can schedule a phone call. You can get a numerology and astrology reading. You could even collab with us. You know, we have all type of perks for the higher tiers. So yeah, join the Patreon to get access to our exclusive content that is way deeper than our YouTube videos. You're really missing out if you haven't joined already. And if you want to watch my other Donald Trump videos, the link will be on the right side of the screen to all of my Donald Trump videos. So you can click that and watch all of my Donald Trump videos. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'm out.